Here's more wrestling news for September 22nd, 2021. And your headlines for this afternoon include WWE planning to pre-tape future Raw and SmackDown, why WWE has not announced stipulations for Extreme Rules matches, 3 title matches and more booked for WWE NXT 2.0 next week, Keith Lee gets new nickname before WWE Raw, Cesaro admits what he found disappointing about Roman Reigns' feud, Vince McMahon pitched ideas of more swearing and new female ring gear for NXT 2.0, Bronson Reed claims Shawn Michaels told him to prove his WWE release was a mistake, Jimmy Smith revealed secret WWE match rule during Raw, WWE King of the Ring special coming to Fox, backstage updates on Sami Callihan following injuries at Impact TV tapings, and more. We are kicking off with WWE, who have announced a second trip to Europe for a tour this November. After the past year, fans in Europe are pleased to see the superstars back, but WWE is changing how they do things with this next tour. During Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer noted that the upcoming tour won't feature live episodes of Raw and SmackDown, saying, "Usually when they tour Europe, they tape TV in Europe, but they're not taping TV in Europe. They're going to be taping Raw and SmackDown that week, both in the United States." Meltzer added that WWE will still send the Raw crew after Raw the week before the tour, and they'll stay until Saturday. And then the SmackDown crew will replace Raw on the tour after they tape 2 episodes of SmackDown in the US. WWE are doing all they can to get back to normal after the past year, and with it being pretty expensive for WWE to film in Europe, this strategy of pre-taping shows before international tours could become the norm after November's trial run. This Sunday, WWE will host its annual Extreme Rules event, but the show so far is Extreme in name only. Despite the show being sold as the one night WWE goes Extreme, no stipulations have been announced for any of the matches, and there's a worrying reason for that. When Ringside News asked about the lack of stipulations, a member of WWE's creative said that no stipulations were decided on at the last meeting, meaning that so far, all matches are planned to be under traditional rules. An anonymous member of WWE's creative team also threw some shade, saying, "Nobody should be surprised by WWE leaving things last minute." WWE doesn't have long to announce a lot of stipulations, and we can only expect that these match types will be announced very soon, as WWE Normal Rules 2021 doesn't quite have the same ring. Over to NXT 2.0, as last night's show was the second night of the rebrand and saw a huge title change. On the show, Roderick Strong toppled Kushida to become the new NXT Cruiserweight Champion, but he didn't have long to celebrate. Post-match, Grayson Waller appeared to challenge Strong for a title match, which will happen on next week's NXT 2.0. That won't be the only massive title match next week, as the NXT Women's title match between Raquel Gonzalez and Frankie Monet that was meant to happen on last week's NXT will instead happen next week, and Toxic Attraction will also get a shot at the NXT Women's Tag Team Championships. Next week, we'll also see a video package for the honeymoon of Dexter Lumis and Indy Hartwell, as well as the debut of a new talk show segment, Lashing Out with Lash Legend. B-Fab and Elektra Lopez will also do battle in a no disqualification match in what'll be a stacked third night of NXT's new era. Before this week's Raw, Keith Lee once again competed in a dark match, but he had a new nickname for the fans in Raleigh, North Carolina. Before the match, the former NXT champion was introduced as Keith Bearcat Lee, a reference to Bearcat Wright, who was a pioneer for black wrestlers during the mid-20th century and became WWA World Heavyweight Champion in August 1963, mere days before Martin Luther King's "I Have a Dream" speech. WWE have had Lee compete in dark matches while they figure out what to do with him, and a heel turn has been considered by Vince McMahon. Time will tell if Lee ever does turn heel when he eventually returns to television, but the Bearcat name is likely here to stay after debuting this week. Over to SmackDown, as Cesaro failed in his quest to dethrone Universal Champion Roman Reigns earlier this year, losing to the Tribal Chief at WrestleMania Backlash. This feud was physical to say the least, but when speaking to Ryan Satin on the Out of Character podcast, the Swiss Cyborg mentioned what he found disappointing about the angle. "I wish it would have been in front of fans, that's the one thing. That was the one thing, like, that match, the build-up, everything. I wish it would have been in front of fans, but it was the Thunderdome and it was still awesome." Cesaro hasn't competed since the September 3rd SmackDown, where he suffered a cervical strain in storyline, and we can only hope that the massively talented former US champion gets another shot at reigns when he's back, now that fans have returned. More from NXT 2.0 as WWE has made a ton of changes as of late, and even more radical shakeups may be coming to the colorful brand. Fightful Select reports that Vince McMahon himself sent NXT a few ideas to freshen up the brand, as they revealed NXT 2.0 targeting more of an 18 to 34 demographic, including everything from in-ring work and aggression to harsher language and the like. Another point that we haven't verified was more lenience on female character gear, though it wasn't specified what exactly that means. Keep up with current affairs with promos and character verbiage was another point said to be brought up. It's said that the USA Network is in full support of these plans, as they're happy with any concept that will lead to a boost of ratings. There's no word on when, if ever, these ideas will be implemented, but if Mandy Rose starts swearing up a storm about the state of current affairs, all while wearing a sultry number, you know who's responsible. Last month, WWE shocked fans by releasing Bronson Reed, who reportedly didn't fit into Vince McMahon's new vision for NXT. There had been plans for the former North American champion to be called up to the main roster, but obviously that didn't happen prior to his release. Speaking to Busted Open Radio this week, Reed recalled being let go and the advice he was given by one very important person. "I got to speak with Shawn right after my release. He actually texted me very shocked and said, 'You have to show them that it was a mistake. Keep working.' It was not something we saw coming. I was speaking with him at the previous tapings about future storylines and where we were headed. In my mind, creative already had plans for me until the end of the year." Keep working is a lot better advice than smile more, something that Reed was told to do while in WWE. It remains to be seen what's next in store for the former NXT superstar, but he's already called out AEW TNT champion Miro, and is expected to make a decision regarding his future soon after being in talks with several big promotions. Whatever he has planned, Reed has his whole career ahead of him, and we're sure he plans on showing WWE why letting him go was a big mistake. Back to Raw, as Jimmy Smith has received praise ever since joining the Red Brand's commentary team earlier this year, but he may have accidentally revealed something that fans aren't supposed to know. On Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer mentioned how Smith referenced a secret rule WWE has regarding tag team matches where superstars are only allowed to save their partner once or risk being DQ'd. Meltzer said, "You know, Jimmy Smith mentioned in that Natalya match when Rhea Ripley made a save, it's like, now they're not allowed to do any more saves. Well, they told us it's a one-save rule. You get one save, it's been an official rule for years, but they never said it on TV. WWE has had this one-save rule for a long time, but traditionally, it's only been the producers who have been in the know, and whether Smith meant to reveal this secret or not, now the fans know only to expect one interference spot during a tag team match." Next month, the company will bring back its King of the Ring tournament that'll see the next monarch be crowned at Crown Jewel in Saudi Arabia. According to PW Insider, Fox is planning to air a King of the Ring special, which will air from October 1st to October 3rd, and will air at different times depending on the local market. This special will no doubt hype up the company's historic tournament, as well as the first ever Queen's Crown tournament, and with former kings including Bret Hart, Steve Austin, Triple H, and Brock Lesnar, there'll be plenty of huge King of the Ring moments for Fox to cover. Since AEW was founded in 2019, Cody Rhodes has remained a babyface, despite once being a fantastic heel in WWE. As a face, Rhodes has done his fair share of putting over other talent such as Darby Allin and Malachi Black, but some fans hope to see the former TNT champion express his meaner side once more. Speaking to Bleacher Report, Rhodes refused to ever turn heel again and made a huge claim about his future in wrestling. "To go from a warm reception to an adversarial reception, I'll retire before I become a heel. I'm not going to make decisions that are bad for our youth to see. That's the challenge. How do I maintain where I'm at when the crowd wants to get a different flavor?" Tonight, Rhodes will face Malachi Black, the man who put him out of action for weeks, and even if he loses again to the former NXT champion, the AEW Executive Vice President will keep his cool around the rest of the babyfaces. And we're ending today with Sami Callihan, who suffered some serious injuries at the latest tapings for Impact Wrestling. It was reported on Monday that Callihan had suffered a broken ankle, which should keep him out of action for the rest of the year and likely until spring of 2022 following surgery. In an update from PW Insider, it's confirmed that Callihan also broke tibia and fibia bones in his left leg, too. Callihan underwent surgery in Nashville and was released from the hospital yesterday, and with this update, he's not expected to be in the ring until mid-August at the very earliest. The former Impact World Champion suffered these injuries doing a suicide dive, and there's no word on whether the match will air in an upcoming episode. Whatever the case, Callihan is gone for the foreseeable future, and we're wishing him a speedy recovery after these horrific injuries. Well guys, that's our news for today. Please share your comments below. Also hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon to receive all notifications. And as always, thanks for watching.